So, episode one, we had that whole discussion. Really curious to see how they go in this direction of episode two. I see how they did that whole reveal of Ellie being immune. They did it in person, they used the device to do it rather than the mask being cracked. Okay. It's going to be interesting where they go from here. It's going to be kind of weird if people are going around in the spores and no one's using a mask at all. It's just kind of, it's going to be like this gaping hole. But I guess you could work around it. You can. It's going to make some scenes a bit tricky because there's a lot of good scenes involving going through the buildings and there's spores and you're going to move stuff around, a lot of conversations. I guess you could all do those outside of buildings and, outdoors and on the outside of the building and you could work around it. But again, it just kind of feels really weird to cold turkey, no masks whatsoever, because apparently they get in the way of filming. Like, you've got a crap ton of movies and scenes and TV shows where they do have a gas mask and hazmat mask and things like that. And, you could record the audio and you can hear it. And, actors and actresses can show a lot of facial expressions and communicate a lot through, their face. Like, has anyone seen here The Dark Knight? Tom Hardy does an amazing job as Bane. He televises so many emotions through his eyes alone. But, that's just me. I don't know. Let's see how they go. All right, you're going to join us back after The Last of Us. All good. You've heard some mixed signals about the show and you'd rather not waste your time. That's fair. Up to you. I'm going to continue watching it because I'm really curious to see where they go with episode 2. I like The Last of Us 1, the story of The Last of Us 1. I really like the actors and actresses in this show so far. I know them from the other shows. They do really, really well. They're carrying some of the scenes. I'm not the world's biggest fan of some of the scenes that they added in because I don't feel that they added a lot to the story. And I feel that the game, particularly in the beginning section, almost played like a movie. And so the more you just left it as it was, the more of a cinematic experience you would have gotten anyway. So a few of the scenes didn't really feel necessary, but I guess everyone wants to leave their own unique mark on a story that already exists. But I mean, if it's perfect the way it is, why would you change it? But I don't know. It's one of these things that people do. But let's see how they go with episode 2. Obviously, the story is different to the original. It's not just Joel and Ellie anymore. It's kind of different. But let's see where they go with it. It might add a complete extra layer and a different dynamic to what's going on. So I'm curious to see how it goes. Thankfully, we've got the subtitles for the people on YouTube that are watching probably without audio. But, if you want the uncut experience, get your butts on Twitch and watch it live or go to Patreon. All right, let's go. Oh, I'm just half expecting The Sopranos. As soon as I see this, I'm expecting The Sopranos. I'm sorry. I'm expecting The Sopranos. I'm expecting to woke up this morning. Oh my god. I can't be the only one, though. Man, being in Indonesia, one of the things that was just nuts was that they didn't have pavement park, like pedestrian pavement on the side of the road. You basically just walk on that like thin piece of concrete on the side of the road, and there were no traffic lights for crossing. Indonesia's wild, man. Absolutely wild. And what really got me, I'm sorry to say this, but like in the shopping centers, you know how typically in the West you have parking spots and you've got lanes and you drive in between, you go into a parking spot. They literally had cars parked like 6, 7 rows, one on top of the other one, like not double parked, but like times 7 rows between you and the car. How the heck would you get the car? Like, I have no idea. Obviously, it's coordinated. Probably someone parks it. They park it according to how long it's going to be there. But oh my god. It's just, guys, travel. It's mind-blowing. Just seeing how things are different overseas is just like, phew. Granted, I was a tourist. I obviously didn't see much of the country, but like what I did see did leave an impression. And whatever you do, don't piss off the local police in whatever foreign country you go to. Please, for the love of God, don't be that person. It doesn't end well. Particularly in Indonesia, if they ask you for a bribe, just give it to them. American. You see, that's the mistake a lot of people make. They give people information on something before they take a look themselves, and then they basically get confirmation bias. Even if it's not intentional, you've effectively told them something, and so they're automatically going to go toward that conclusion because it's already in their minds, as opposed to seeing something and then thinking, what could the conclusion be? So I like that they have that detail. From a human, just like, wait, what the fuck? You see, my first question was, where the fuck is the hazmat suit? You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking at a sample of this, where the hazmat suits at? Here they are. I don't think the guards should be using assault rifles. I think they should be using flamethrowers, but that's just me. Is the same reason how I hate they got rid of gas masks? Oh shit! Guys, Twitch, what the fuck? But anyway, welcome to frickin' HBO. I won't tell if you don't. Don't get me cancelled, please. I'm just trying to enjoy a TV show here. I'm the wrong gender for Twitch. I'm gonna be this uneducated person, but humor me here. If it's a spore, which is airborne, how does it infect another person through a bite? Like, would the spore be in saliva and then it gets into the bloodstream? Or how does it work? Ew! Looks pussy. She's thinking what we're thinking. What the fuck? If something comes out of the leg now, like a facehugger and jumps on her, that's gonna be ridiculous. Like, don't go beyond this point. I think they got the point across. Don't, you know what I mean? There is such thing as too much. It's gonna bite her, isn't it? Don't put your finger in there. No. 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 Nah, it's gonna happen. Yeah, she's gonna get bit. She's gonna get bit, watch. She's gonna get bit. Ew, what the fuck? Ew. 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 Yeah, I'm officially fucking grossed out. I'm fucking grossed out. Ew. 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 I'm lucky I ate before watching this, because my appetite's fucking gone. Ew. Flour and grain? You mean the freaking thing people eat? This is practically the plot of Warcraft 3. The grain's infected. I love how the police officer got a perfect headshot. Most cops can't even land a body shot at 10 meters. It's actually pretty funny. It's pretty fucking, like, it's pretty scary. To be a cop in Australia, you have to be able to hit a target at 10 meters. Hit a target. Not hit a bullseye, not hit the small circle, like hit the target. The target's like a fucking A3 sheet of paper at 10 meters. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Which kind of explains what there was the terrorist thing at the Lynn Cafe in Australia, and the guy held a bunch of Aussies hostage. When the hostages were running out, the cops actually shot the hostages. That explains a lot. I can only imagine what American cops are like. You know what's really going to screw up everything? If rats get infected. Because I don't know if people know this, but in Australia, there's so many rats living underneath the city. We're outnumbered. Like, if rats get infected, it's like a plague story. We're fucked. There's just millions of rats under Sydney. And they breed so quickly. And they go through just about anything. If rats get infected, GG. I don't hold a gun often, and I have done better than 10 meters. Hutchin has done better at 10 meters, and that was the first time she fired a gun. This is about the airborne disease you're talking about. They can be spread several ways, including through contaminated soil, water, food, and blood, as well as through sexual contact and via insect bites. But if we're talking about The Last of Us 1, it's not just a disease. It's a, what's it called? It's a fungi, isn't it? A fungus? So it's a living organism, right? So if it didn't have, I think it needs a food source, right? A fungus needs a food source. It needs access to certain things in order to survive. So if it's starved of those things, it would die, right? Unless I'm mistaken. I might be wrong. But like, if I'm correct. So it can live within a certain range of heat, temperature, and cold. And then a certain sort of like range of moisture. And then like a certain range of sunlight or darkness or dampness and things like that, right? So it's got a very specific range. It's got like a certain condition under which it will live and grow and be transported. So, you've got some level of control, but yeah. That's why I was so like, you get bit by it. How's it, transmitting? How's it working? How's it, like a fungus, is it in the bloodstream? But then if it's in the bloodstream, is it in the saliva? Does it go through the teeth? I'm trying to figure out the mechanism here. Because based on that, different things happen. Like for me, it would make sense if it's a spore and it's in the body and it's replicated and it started to expand, and the person that's infected is breathing out the spore. Like it grabs you and breathes on you, and the spores get in your lungs, and then it affects you, and then it pretty much contaminates you from the inside. That would make sense in my mind. Fungi can propagate so long as it's a shady, damp place. Reason why toadstools love grass. I think that's why they showed it growing out of her mouth, right? But she got it by getting bit, or maybe the bite had nothing to do with it. I don't know. All I know is this thing would be fucked in Australia. We don't have winter, and during the drought, moisture. What's moisture? So if this thing ever happens, I'm just going in the middle of the Aussie outback. There's no moisture. There's no shade. And it's like 50 degree with a hole in the ozone layer. That thing is just going to get disintegrated. Like us, fungi can only live and grow if they have food, water, and oxygen from the air. But fungi don't chew food, drink water, or breathe air. Instead, fungi grow as masses of narrow branch threads called hyphae. The bite could just be an entry point, because I guess to let the spores from the growth enter, maybe. Maybe. RIP England. A lot of Europe would actually be screwed. A lot. See, people make a lot of fun of Australia, and I'm going to stop discussing. People make a lot of fun of Australia, but you need to take a look at it through a geographic point of view. It's surrounded by water. So you can't just, for example, if an animal gets infected, like a cat or a boar or something, it's not just going to swim across the pond and get to Australia. It's not going to happen. So the entry point is limited to ships and aircraft. And so as long as you have good quarantine measures and testing and things, you can control most foreign diseases and things like that. And then at the same time, the climate itself, the temperature, the soil, all these other things, you can kind of keep a lot of problems out. It's like, it's hell on earth when it's drought, but sometimes it's handy to be here, Oof. Yeah, this thing is spreading. Good luck with that. Do you even know how a vaccine's developed? You don't even fucking know what this thing is yet. You want a vaccine? Get a flamethrower. Don't forget that Indonesia is humid. So, You've already met the requirement of water almost instantly for the entire country. And it's the fourth largest population in the world. Let's not even talk about population density. Like, this thing is gonna super spread. Flamethrower. You would, in this situation, literally have to quarantine the entire fucking country. You know, basically COVID, but actually taking it seriously. And not just a regular bomb. We're talking about a fucking hydrogen bomb here. You gotta burn the place to the fucking ground so that nothing can actually grow for 1,000 years. I've seen what monsters humans had to deal with 20,000 years ago. Y'all had terrestrial alligators and 50-foot Komodo dragons. The ancestors of Maori lived on Skull Island. Well, here's the thing. If you have survived this long, your bloodline and ancestors would have had to go through all of that and make it this far, as well as your instincts being developed over so many centuries, as well as your immune system and everything. And the biggest challenge a lot of people in the first world face is finding a mate. Because most of their other needs are already provided for them. Oh, evolution. How we've reversed you. Some people can't even change a light bulb. Much less cook an egg. Here's the beautiful thing. It is the logical decision to just completely annihilate a city like this to stop something like this from spreading. But you've got a few issues. You've got the human instinct to survive, and then you've got emotions. Family members. You don't want to kill them. So humans can't make that decision. Most humans. Which is why something like this could absolutely destroy us. Look what COVID did to us. Seriously, just look at what it did to humanity as a whole. Now imagine if we actually faced the disease that could wipe us out. We'd be fucked. And I'm not talking about communism here. You know, some people would sacrifice themselves for the betterment of humanity, and some people will sacrifice humanity for comfort. And unfortunately, the world is ruled by the latter. Hey, Cherry Blossom, welcome to the stream. COVID was Y2K Crazy Part 2. The worst part is that governments abuse their power and no one's holding them accountable for it. But you have to realize one thing. In most diseases and infections, 5% of humans are immune. And if you take a look at it from an evolutionary point of view, humanity would survive. The problem is, everyone wants to survive, so they're willing to sacrifice the rest. Humanity would survive regardless. It's just that most humans want to survive themselves. Case in point. And she wouldn't be the only one that's fucking immune. 5% would be, give or take. Typically speaking. And then imagine two people that are naturally immune to this having children. Their children would have a high probability of also being immune. Rinse and repeat. Next thing you know, the entire human population is immune to this thing and life goes on. Instead, we like to mess with nature. But what would I know? I got COVID and just had cramps. Meanwhile, I lost an aunt and couldn't say goodbye. Unfortunately, like, a mate of mine's brother, who throughout, he was like, it was a year younger than us, right? So my mate was a year older. My mate's brother was a year younger than me. And my mate's brother was always the fit one. Like, he played football, soccer at school. He was fit, all that sort of stuff. He was having a wedding. And so he got a shot, to be vaccinated and to be safe and everything for the wedding. 3 weeks later, he basically died in his sleep. His fiance basically woke up next to him, struggling to breathe, and he died. And then they were basically like, oh, it must have been a undiagnosed heart disease. And it was like, he fucking played sport his entire life. Never had a single fucking problem. 3 weeks after getting a shot, undiagnosed heart disease. What the you know what I mean? Like, and they didn't even investigate or anything. Something's really wrong with the planet we're on. So, yeah. And they wouldn't investigate or anything. They were just like, oh, undiagnosed heart disease. It's like, if he had an undiagnosed heart disease, don't you think at any point while he was playing competitive soccer, something might have happened? No. That's just how these things work. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? So there's like underreporting, lack of research. Like, we're gonna have a fucking, like, the problem is that we don't have transparency with what's going on, much less responsibility, much less the fact that the Prime Minister's cousin was on the board of directors of AstraZeneca in Australia, which is why he was pushing mandatory vaccinations in Australia. You know how much fucking money they made off that? And then members of Congress, before vaccine mandates became a thing, bought shares in Pfizer. A lot of people got very fucking rich. There's something really wrong with the planet we live on. Where are the subtitles? Alright, I'm going to be that guy and really quickly download the subtitle. Give me 1 second. But so far, so good in this episode. Obviously, the scene with the lady and I'm guessing she was in the Institute of Virology. Obviously, that wasn't in the game, but it was a great way to express the issue globally that happened prior to the game. Scenes like that, I'm 100% in support of because they build the world, right? But the scene that we had in episode 1 with the neighbor and all that stuff, I think that was unnecessary because the way that it was written in the game itself for that part of the story was fine. It played like a movie, particularly the first hour. So, okay, that should be okay. When I downloaded the subtitles, Chrome opened. And when my Chrome opened, it opened all my YouTube tabs that I use for editing and uploading videos. And it was just like, download 50 tabs at the same time. And it's like, no, Chrome, don't! The rich and powerful sadly leave out the important details. They want to control the populace while making sure they look more competent than they actually are. My favorite part is how the story changed across the years. It's like 100% immunization and stops the spread. Okay, it doesn't stop the spread, but it gives you 100% immunization. Okay, it's not 100% immunization, it's 90% immunization. Okay, it's not 99%, you know what I mean? Like the goalposts kept changing, and then they're like, oh, we didn't know anything, so like, it's not our fault. And it's like, you know what I mean? But we forced it on people. It's like, really? You know what that reminds me of? The 1930s and 40s. Virus or malware? You mean Google? That's the world's biggest fucking tracker in the world. You can't get them not to track you unless you disable the tracking in 4 separate places, which they bury really deep, and it automatically activates itself after you use any of their products. So yeah, that's spyware. Quick, get her. She's working for Pablo Escobar. Come on, please tell me you get that reference. To be fair, I'd be like that too. Listen here, you little shit. After the shit we saw before you were even born. And the other goalpost of no restriction to enter places of unvaccinated, restriction to enter public closed places and countries, restriction to enter empty place, no restrictions if you aren't boosted. Yeah, so on and so forth. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's a conversation for the politics and history tab on our Discord. We had a lot of chats there. Just look at the pinged posts, particularly the documents that were given to the U.S. courts by the different companies making vaccines and all their questionable trials. Good read. Classy. Toilet paper. Yeah, his hands are shaking. Good acting. No, it won't. Well, that was quick. Oh, they're eating jerky and she has a sandwich. Oof. I'm just gonna be that guy, but like, what's to stop them from shooting you as you get there? Like, you're just walking in a field and they just, I don't know, use a sniper rifle and fucking shoot you in the head. I mean, I get that your plan was like, hey, if you don't give us the fucking battery, we'll shoot her before we hand her over. It's like, deal. But like, you know what I mean? That'd be my first thought. It's not like you can put a dead man switch bomb proximity on her and, you know, if she doesn't comply, she turns into a walking claymore mine without 52 virgins. Is that a little dark? I mean, it is the apocalypse. Ah, yes, the iconic scenes. At least they didn't go on the cheap on this budget. Like, worth it. Really nice. Would it kill you to use 60 FPS? I'm just waiting for this to come out in 4K 60 FPS. That's all I'm saying. It'll be smooth as butter and it will look fantastic. Almost like NATO in Yugoslavia. She's such a teenager, I love it. She nailed the whole teenager thing. I fucking love it. Alright, it's like, we want you to be a bratty teenager. And done. Nice. I'm a bit late. Is the first half of the episode better than episode 1? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna be that guy. With all these windows shattered from an explosion, these glasses would not be standing upright, nor would they not be shattered. But what would I know about shockwaves? You know, some would call that Darwinism. Clearly not. Balls and no brains. But then again, she is a teenager. They always know better. Wait, you mean going out at night in the forest doesn't mean I'm gonna get eaten by wolves? Are you making fun of the game? Don't make fun of the game. Can you not make fun of the game? Really? You're making fun of the game? I mean, I get it. Because you didn't write it, and it was a critically acclaimed success because you didn't write it. Now you're gonna make fun of it? Wow. Let's go. Nice detailing in the background, though. Gotta admit. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Let me take a look at it. I don't know why, but I saw a few of these buildings. I'm like, wait, is this Australia? But then I realized a lot of the buildings in Australia are built by companies that are from the US and the rest of the world anyway, so they make them look a certain way anyway. You know, because they're just like waving their dicks around. Who has the bigger building with more glass, which is inefficient, hard to clean, and harder to keep cold. But fuck global warming, am I right? Same reason why the banks never actually turn the lights on. You like go to New Year's where they're doing fireworks on the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and guess what buildings still have their lights on? The banks. Because fuck global warming, am I right? Go, Frog! Play me a song. See, I'm gonna be that guy. If you've got frogs and you've got ducks swimming in the water and making noise, you would think that it would be safe because they're making noise, and if there was any clicker, I'm guessing they still call them clickers, in the area, they would attack the duck and the frog because they're making noise. But for whatever reason, I feel like that if they get in the water, one of these things is just going to come out of the water and grab them because tropes. You do not want to get that carbine wet because US issue weapons don't do well with water. Or dust, or sand, or mud. You want that sort of shit? Get Soviet. Books. The floor is flat. You see, women have an unfair advantage to men in situations like this. Guys, you know what I'll talk. Guys, you know what I'm talking about. The most uncomfortable feeling in the world. Luckily, Joel doesn't have to go through that right now. No, 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 no. I was half right. Ellie in the game wasn't as dumb. She's just a kid. By the way, she never actually played the game or knows what happens in the game because they didn't want her to do that because they didn't want her character to be influenced by Ellie in the game. I wonder how many of these pieces of dialogue are improvised. Because that's what really makes something click. Method acting and improvisation. When you get so into the character, you start replying better than the script. That's when you know you've nailed it. But then again, all she has to do is be an edgy teenager. I mean, is that difficult for a teenager? Think about it. It's like, we want you to be yourself on sugar. Speaking of sugar, I have these lollies. They're just fucking feeding us sugar throughout the filming process. They just wanted to be high on sugar the entire time. Just like... Remember, you must swear in every sentence. Ten floors. I do that in like... I can do 44 floors in 10 minutes. And then I'm just like, fuck my life. So the first 10 floors, probably 2 minutes. But then again, I only have an injured right knee from taking a roundhouse kick too many times. Shit. I gotta go around. Good point. Watch, something's gonna grab it from the wall. $1,007. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life's but a dream. I used to do that. Actually, that's not the hard thing to do. It's harder if you do it higher and it spins multiple times. Then you really got to learn control. Because if you lose it, you're going to end up getting slashed. Doing a single flip is like fucking nothing. Who's your daddy and what does he do? That explains the guns. Snarky. Is it like a giant hole or something? They can get across, right? Well, that's a lot of green. This must be the hipster programmer lounge. Where's the latte machine? Oh, that's a view. Any giraffes? People are still giving me shit for missing that one. Oh, there they are. Wait, so these ones are just all crawling, or can these ones actually get up and they're just doing the Harlem Shake because reasons? They hate the sunlight. Oh, funny piece of trivia. If you're in the middle of a war or a battle, and for whatever reason you lost the weapon or you didn't have a weapon, it's against the Geneva Convention to use a piece of history as a weapon. So even if the battle's taking place in a museum and there's like an antique World War One rifle that works perfectly fine, or like a sword or a spear or something like that, it is against the Geneva Convention to use it as a weapon because it's a historical artifact. Hmm, crazy. I have to really like pay credit to the detailing here. This is beautiful. The foliage, the moss, the leaves. It's just yeah, like very nice. Very very nice. Very nice. You gotta admit they did this right. Fungus actually does make a network similar to internet underground via root-like connections to other plants around it. They must hate my front yard because I poisoned the shit out of weeds. So like, remember how they don't want to wear masks, but spores inside a building infested with them. Like, you know what I mean? I get you don't want them to overuse masks, but fuck's sake. Come on. There's a time and a place where you need a mask. Okay, they're trying to work around it. But still, wasn't it fashionable to wear a mask just in case the past 3 years? Please have a mask. No, it's a flashlight. Oh my god, she didn't say a smartass comment. Achievement unlocked. I'm going to be that person and say I'm not giving an untrained teenager a firearm when ammunition is scarce and I don't trust the teenager and they're standing behind me and they're a smartass. And I said I would shoot them. I'm just saying. Joel, I know you were in Narcos. Lift that firearm. You ain't hitting shit like that. At least have it on your shoulder. Come on, buddy. Clear that room. Oh, George Washington. Ah yes, propaganda. How the Indians were such evil savages. Let's put anthrax in blankets and give it to them. America, book, yeah. Oh, that's fresh. Wait, let me double check. I think he did it right. Close enough. Close enough. Close enough. A bear. Or maybe... Come on, she was in military school. She understands hand signals. She understands hand signals, right? Or did they, like, not teach her that in basics? It's a wooden floorboard. Creakity creak creak. Now watch one of them break. I mean, you might want to stagger a little bit to distribute the weight, but what would I know about wooden built houses? I just renovate them. Damn, George Washington again, and this time he's got a fungus facehugger on him. This museum is a dick to George Washington. See, even I know who that is, and I'm an Aussie. Respect. That man was a G. Look, you fucking got me. Yeah. Well played. Oh, fuck, you got me. You got me good. I think this guy's gonna get up. I'm just putting my money on this guy getting up, but they got me on that one. Oh, that was tense. Good shit. Extra crispy? Just need some dipping sauce. Like, why would you step on that? Why would you step on that? Clear your corners, Joel. See, I'm gonna be that person. Using any of this equipment would be against the Geneva Convention. But at the same time, it's the apocalypse. I wish America still had politicians like good old George. Now we have an invalid in office who forgets where he puts his handkerchief in his pocket. Like, anyone follow the Geneva Convention? I don't think so, because history is written by the victor. And typically the loser is the one branded as the villain. It's just how it works. History. His story. Yeah. Huh. I wouldn't actually mind going to a museum like this. I've never actually been to anything related to the US history. I know a little bit, like a tiny smidge of US history. But like I'd like to actually go to the museum and see some of these artifacts, you know, like in person. Geneva Convention seems more like guidelines these days. See, it's not about the rules, it's about who enforces them, and it's not about who votes, but rather who counts them. Every time George Washington is mentioned, my brain starts playing the Hamilton soundtrack. Wasn't that like a live stage performance? I know, because they were like advertising it here in Sydney. Not that I saw it, it just rings a bell. Funny enough, George Washington didn't even want to be president. It's just everyone in the entire country wanted him to be president. And they didn't want him to be president, they wanted him to be prime minister. But he didn't want to be a prime minister, so he chose a title that was lower than prime minister, like president, like a president of a country club, you know? It wasn't a big position. It was just like, okay, I'm not going to be your prime minister, like the prime of the ministers. I'm a president, like a caretaker of a country club. But it got elevated to this position because he was a G. And he was the one that put in the limitation of only having 2 consecutive terms being 8 years. Like, he was one of those humble people. He didn't want to be a ruler or anything. Meanwhile, these days, like, when you read into the Founding Fathers and the principles of America, it's very difficult to disagree with what they wanted to establish. But when you take a look at what's happening nowadays, you realize that the spirit of America is no longer in existence. It has become the very thing that it wanted to liberate itself from. Kind of a side note. So my name's George. I was born on George Washington's birthday. My parents' names are George and Martha. George Washington's wife was Martha. Holy shit. You know what you must do. Actually, a lot of people wanted him to be king, but he chose to be president because he didn't want to be a ruler. Like, he was actually working for the British prior to, like, the liberation. He wanted to liberate them from kings and rulers. That's why he did it. He didn't want to become one. Unlike the people today. I mean, if anything was going to make noise, it would have been that. Well, there it is. Shut up, cheeky. You're not saving me from shit. Are we allowed to vote musicals in? I really think you'd like Hamilton. I mean, you can. When it comes to voting something, of course you can. TV shows, movies, animes, animated films, miniseries, historical miniseries, documentaries, musicals. I can't see why it would be a no. Granted, it would have to win. Here they come. Remember, don't spray and pray. Okay, I'm going to be that person. I would grab a bust, throw the bust at the opposite side of the room, let it go there, and see if you could get a shot. Fun fact, George Washington's descendant was married to Robert E. Lee, or at least Exis read she was Martha Washington's descendant. USA is a great idea and incredibly shit execution of the idea. Yeah. Well, why do you think they're trying to get rid of what was it called? Uh, Amendments. They're trying to undo them in the US. They're trying to undo the very thing the founding fathers established to keep people in check. Like, the country's literally corrupt to the core. It's like the British Empire was back in the day. Throw a bust. Throw a bust. Watch, she's gonna hit something and tip it over. Throw a bust to the opposite side of the room. Draw them there. Draw them there. Well, at least they used the idea of the bus to cause a distraction, but like it would have been useful before they were discovered. Not a bad idea, Joel. Here it comes. I'm gonna be that guy, and please correct me if I'm wrong. If these things work on hearing alone, what is to stop you from running and while you're running using the back of the weapon to hit the glass cases? Because it's chasing sound and you're effectively creating distortions of sound by breaking glass while you're running, and then the glass is also going to fall on the ground, fall on other things, creating more noise, making it more difficult for the thing to identify where you are. I get that it could track the sound of footsteps going this way, but if there's like shattering glass, shattering glass, shattering glass, shatter. You know what I mean? It's kind of like sort of thing. Could be wrong, but what's to stop that being deployed? Or like grabbing a piece of broken glass. Like there's clearly broken glass here, which means there's broken glass on the floor. What's to stop you from grabbing it, throwing it, drawing it in another direction? Well, you just fucked yourself with the glass. That's on you. I'm sorry, but that shit's on you. Use your legs. You just wasted 6 rounds on that one thing. That's why I was a little confused as to why the first shot that he let off when that thing was close to him was like in the chest. That took 2 rounds. I mean, I get it's not as powerful as a 7.62, but a 5.62 is still a powerful round with an exit wound of around this size. You would think Americans would know better. Okay, so I know the rest is bone dry, but there's a few clickers now, which means there's probably spores. Now it kind of feels weird not to have a mask. Because if this thing is right in your face and screaming, like, if a bite could infect a human, why would that not, like, in your mouth? Like, it's kind of starting to feel like these things are fucking zombies. They have to bite you to infect you. They can't just breathe spores into you. Plot requires there to be more tension, so yeeting glass across the room is a no. That's it! I'm gonna direct a fucking movie, and I'm gonna traumatize you all. I'm gonna use real-life physics, real-life military application, and actual fucking horrifying shit. I'm gonna give you guys a slasher film with someone that knows how to use military tactics to hunt people down. I'm gonna fucking give you some real horror. Realistic horror. Or unless you're fucking immune. I'm gonna be that guy. This museum is filled with very nice sabers and cutlasses and knives and all these other goodies. Maybe take a souvenir? Clearly, you have never fallen from anything before. I kind of feel this is not about the kid and the bite. I kind of feel that this is not fair about how he's being treated in this moment. Like, he's literally asking your opinion on the kid and you're telling him to fuck off. I guess they're trying to show is the cordyceps evolving by first showing it as a classic zombie infection to what we see in the game. Possibly. I mean, they made fun of the bloaters and the one with the sonar, but like... If the clickers are parasitic fungi, why do they get affected by gunfire? It only hits one part, and there is no proof that fungi can feel pain, so they should only be affected by the recoil of the impact. So, like the way I looked at it was that the fungi infects the host's brain and effectively uses them like a zombie, infecting the brain and using the brain to control the rest of the body. By destroying the brain or severing the spine, you effectively disable the fungi's ability to zombify the host, which is why headshots are effective or, decapitation. That was my logic. I would not fucking use those. Fuck that shit. I would not fucking swing on that thing like that. You don't fucking swing. What the fuck? Mate, at least pretend that you worked on a fucking construction site. No guy working on a fucking construction site would do that. That is not how you fucking get on. No, 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 no. No, no fucking guy that's ever been on a fucking construction site or up a ladder would ever do that. I'ma just swing all my weight. Whoop! No one. Ever. You literally face the ladder the way you're gonna go on it. All your weight is on off the ladder. You put a foot on the ladder and then you slowly put weight on it and then you put the other foot. You don't just arm a fucking swing. Like, mate. I mean, it's not his fault. It's the fucking director's fault for not knowing how to actually use a ladder. But no one would ever do that. Especially on something like that. Fuck no. Jesus. Director doesn't even know how to use the ladder. Does he know how to change a light bulb? Ladders are not playground equipment. Nope. I never worked a construction site, but I wouldn't do that unless I had a death wish, basically. Especially on something like that could be rusted and easily fall off. Sorry, but I minus points on that one. I gave a lot of points for the rest of the episode and the detailing, but that ladder... And by the way, they wrote in this story that Joel works in a construction yard, pouring concrete. And like formwork and all this stuff. Which means he's been using ladders professionally. You can't tell me he's no longer on the construction site. Once you get a technique down and it's muscle memory, you don't fucking do that. So clearly, director, bad job. Bad director. Very bad director. Probably behind you. To be honest, he doesn't even know how to pour concrete properly. You wouldn't see me out in the open like this. Fucking never. Okay, I'm gonna... You know what I'm gonna pay money on? Finger discipline. See, finger? Not on the trigger unless you're ready to pull it. And he's not choking. See, good finger discipline. I pay that. I pay that shit. You would not put your finger there. You would never put your finger there on the gun. He's got decent finger discipline. But... trigger discipline, sorry, not finger discipline. Trigger discipline. They caught them. Someone got ambushed. I love how she just charges in. I'm not going to look left. I'm not going to look right. So do you want to stay in here or what? Hey, I would pick up their fucking guns. I'm picking up that shotgun. How about you pick up the guns? No way a fucking military outfit is going to take out a bunch of militants and leave the guns. Well, that fucking narrows it down. Well, that explains the personality shift. Oh, shit! That's right next to the fucking head. Yeah, that's a big fucking whoops. And thanks for keeping it a secret. It's not like it compromises the rest of us. She's gonna blow her own brains out. Or maybe something will kill her instead. Sorry, but the gunshot would be a lot louder from a revolver. Who was the military advisor on this thing? They need to get fired. Uh-oh. Well, that was nice foreshadowing. Pick up a fucking shotgun, you'll need it. Oh, fuck that shit. Brace the door with something? Hold the line? I'm gonna be that person, but that was an AK. The most reliable thing you could get. I would pick that up and dump the carbine. I would take a few fucking pineapple grenades. Those would fucking come in handy. Literally, you only need one to blow this place up. Ellie, be a good girl and get a few pineapple grenades. Ellie, be a good girl and listen to this love. Don't kiss her. She's fucking infected. Seriously? If they do a makeout scene right now, like... Don't you dare kiss. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. No, pick up the AK. You need the AK. Ammunition is a made-up concept that they pull out of their ass. Ooh, so they've got sniper rifles, shotguns, AKs, pineapple grenades, and probably a lot of ammunition. Sure, why not? Are you at least gonna pick up a grenade and like pull the pin and hold it in your hand so when they rush you, they've only got a few seconds before it goes boom? Or are we gonna use the magic of imagination and cinema to make this go boom? Do yourself a favor and pick up a grenade. You don't need a fucking match, you have a goddamn grenade. You literally have grenades. Pick them up, pull the pin. When they come in and rush you, you just drop them on the floor. Seriously, whoever the fuck the military advisor was in this needs to get fired and blacklisted. She's been holding the gun on the slide. Like, what the fuck? The fucking grenade. So what was the point of throwing the grenades then? Did they have one? Yes! She tossed a box of grenades on the floor! 6 of them! See, they're right fucking there! What the fuck? Fucking fire whoever was in charge of the guns and the fucking shit. Fire them. Fucking send me a message, I'll help you. Well, this is what you get for not using a grenade. I hope they eat you. Are you gonna make out or something? Yeah, this is all Neil Druckmann. He likes this shit. You know, this could have been avoided if you used the grenade. I'm sorry, but they ruined the scene with how fucking stupid that was. You had one job. Literally one job. I'm sorry, Neil, but that was shit. You don't know how guns work. You don't. Fuck, you're an idiot. You see, this is why you don't mess with the script or the cinematic of something that has already been polished and perfected, and why you were never put in charge of the first game in the first place. Because you're an idiot. Jesus Christ. She tosses the grenades to give it a bigger explosion, but she doesn't use one. Despite it literally being a failsafe. She risks it all on getting the lighter to work. Really? 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 Come on. You could have literally made her in the most badass character there was. Going out like a G. Like, I'm gonna hold 2 grenades, and I'm gonna draw them all to me, and then when they're on top of me, boom. But instead you're like, I'm a helpless person who doesn't know what to do and my fingers are shaking. Like, come on, man. She could have gone out like a G. She could have gotten like a play of the game. You know, like an epic, I'm going to draw them to me. Instead this. Like, come on, man. Golden opportunity. And in the previous scene, her fingers on the slide of the gun. Oh my god. Couldn't she just shoot it? So shooting petrol doesn't actually make it burn. If the ricochet caused the spark, then it would. It's like shooting a gas canister. It doesn't make it explode. It's not GTA. You need an open flame. But the thing with the grenade is it's got gunpowder and it causes an explosion. So there would be an explosion from a grenade. Not to mention all the shrapnel that would be flying around, which would cause sparks. That's why the grenade would work a lot better. Or like have one grenade and use the other hand with the lighter. Like, I'm sorry, but they kind of killed the character. She went from, okay, I'm going to pour all this gasoline. I'm going to toss down the grenade, and I forgot about the grenades. It's like, I'm sorry, but like, those detailings, the stairs, the ladder, the finger on the slide of the fucking gun, and then this was kind of like, come on, you were doing so well, and you fucked up on, oh my god. They were doing so well all episode. Oh, they was doing so well. I can't not see those big mistakes and cardinal sins. I get that a lot of people don't see that, but come on, you were doing so well in the other stuff. The true loss here was the AK that burned with it. Oh, the AK would probably be fine. It's mostly metal, and that wouldn't melt the metal. You could probably go in there and salvage the AK, and it would work fine. The AK would be fucking fine. The carbine would be fucked. The carbine's the plastic. The AK is metal. AK is fucking fine. That's why I was saying, like, fucking pick up the AK. It's the most reliable shit you can get. Damn it, they dropped the ball on that one. Ah, they were doing so well. So close yet so far away. I'm literally going to end up tweeting that. I'm going to be like, guys, what the fuck is this? By the way, Invincible Season 2 trailer is out. Cool, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to Invincible Season 2, but I'm not reacting to it today. Ah. They were doing so well! This is why you don't cut corners. This is why you don't cut corners. Anyone that used the gun that watched this episode would have picked that up. Was there no one on the development team for this thing that ever used the gun? That's disappointing. I thought you were in America. The founding fathers are like fucking flipping in their graves. You have dishonored your entire people. The founding fathers are crying. My God. Oh. And that whole ladder thing, like, whoop, I'm gonna swing. I'm like, no. No one that ever worked a construction site would do that. No one with half a brain would do that. Tell me this is done with a green screen without telling me this is done with a green screen. They're using the bloody ladder that's broken like a stripper pole. Oh well, at least the rest of the episode was good. You gotta give them that. They added the scene at the beginning, which gave context and was a flashback. That was good. The backdrop was really good. The detailing, you know, it looked like the scenes in the game. I really liked it. It was really good. It was just a few little things. But my God, when those little things are in a key moment like that, it makes the difference. It really does. And all it would have taken is one person that has ever used a firearm in their lives, and they could have fixed that in, like if I notice it, anyone else would notice it. The Second Amendment was wasted on these people. Freedom is wasted on these people. Freedom. But anyway, what can you do? Alright guys, quick little break and we're going to watch some Avatar.